Chosen ones, stop. Stop whatever you were doing. Stop whatever you were planning. Stop the next thought before it fully forms. You are not here by accident. The path that placed this message in front of you tonight was not random. It was orchestrated. The Father has interrupted your evening because you are about to make a decision He could not let you finalize alone. Hear me carefully. This is not anger. The Father does not raise His voice toward His own out of anger. He raises it out of love at its highest volume. And love that sees a child walking toward the wrong door does not whisper. He has chosen disruption. He has chosen now. He has chosen this exact word on this exact night for you specifically. You have been doing many things right. You have been seeking. You have been refusing to settle. You have been listening for the still small voice in a noisy world. But you have been applying the right hunger to the wrong root. There is a sequence beneath your striving that no one explained to you. A frequency the world began dimming long before you understood what was being lost. Tonight, that ends. Stay. Do not move. The repair has arrived. Before another word lands, this needs to be only yours. If there are people around you, this message is not for them. Not yet. Lower the volume on whatever else is playing. Turn off the second screen you are half watching. If you are lying in bed, that is fine. If you are driving, just keep your eyes on the road and let the words do the work. You do not need to take notes. You do not need to do anything. Take one real breath. Slow through the nose, out through the mouth. The next 30 minutes were not arranged for entertainment. They were arranged for a turning. I want to share something that has been pressing on my spirit since the moment I sat down to record this. The words I am about to speak are not mine. I am not the author of them. I am only the messenger. And what I hear the Spirit saying to you tonight is this. I did not bring you this far to leave you on the wrong frequency. I did not give you these dreams to watch you carry them on a body that was never meant to do this alone. I have watched the silent prayers you whispered in rooms no one walked into. I have counted the times you decided to keep going when no one would have blamed you for stopping. I have seen the weight you have been carrying without complaint, and I am not asking you to carry it for one more season the way you have been carrying it. There is a turning here. The turning begins tonight. If this is for you, your spirit already knows, but your mind is going to need confirmation. So, let me name the signs that have been arriving for you, not made up, not guessed at, the ones the Father has been quietly placing along the path, so that when this moment arrived, you would recognize the door. The first sign is the way you have been waking up lately. Not tired in the body exactly, but tired in the soul. There is a sentence you cannot finish in your own head, a piece you keep almost reaching, almost touching, and then it slides away from you. You wake up and you do not know what is wrong. Only that something is. That is not anxiety. That is your spirit telling you that the path you are on is not the path you are assigned to walk. The second sign is the way certain conversations exhaust you now in a way they did not used to. Rooms you used to fit into feel smaller. Voices you used to enjoy feel louder. People you used to love being around take more from you than they give. This is not bitterness. This is calibration. You are being prepared for environments that match what you are becoming, and the old rooms are losing their hold on you. The third sign is the way the same hour keeps appearing on every clock you glance at. 11, 11, 3:30, 3:33, 4:44. The hour you keep catching when you look up at the wall, on the dashboard, on the stove, on your phone right before you set it down. You laughed it off the first 3 times. By the 10th time you stopped laughing. Those are not coincidences. Those are arrows. And every arrow has been pointing toward this exact moment. The fourth sign is the way strangers have been saying sentences only heaven could have arranged for them to say. The cashier who said the exact word you needed that day. The text from the friend you had not heard from in a year that arrived the morning after the prayer. The post you scrolled past 3 times before something made you go back and read it. None of those people knew what they were saying. They were not supposed to know. They were carrying a message they could not read, addressed to a person they could not see. You. If you have just recognized even 2 of these in your own life, your spirit is already nodding. Type the number 777 in the comments below. Not to perform anything, not to play along. Type it because it is the number of confirmation, and what just landed in you needs to be sealed in something visible. Type 777 and let your hand agree with what your spirit already knows. Before this descends any further, let me tell you what is waiting for you between now and the close of this message. 3 things are coming, and each of them is the reason staying matters. The first is that the actual mistake you have been making is going to be named not in vague language. Specifically, you will leave this message knowing what it is and why it has been happening for as long as it has. The second is that the root cause will be revealed. There is a reason you have been exhausted, and that reason is not weakness, and it is not lack of faith, and it is not your fault. Tonight you find out what it actually is, and you find out why almost no one has ever named it for you. And the third is that before this message ends, I am going to speak something over your life. A declaration, something the Father has placed on my spirit specifically for the person who stayed all the way through. It will land differently than anything else you hear tonight, and it will stay with you long after you close this. Stay. What comes next is where the diagnosis begins. The mistake you have been making is older than you think, and it is quieter than you think. Most people, when they hear the word mistake, picture a moment, a bad decision, a wrong door, a relationship that should have ended sooner, a job that should have started later, a thing they said out loud that they cannot take back. There are mistakes like that, but that is not the mistake the Father is interrupting tonight. The mistake the Father is interrupting tonight has no specific moment. It is a pattern so consistent, so woven into the way you wake up and move through your day that you have stopped seeing it as a mistake at all. You have started calling it your life. Imagine just for a moment that you are standing on the deck of a ship. The water has been still for a long time. You have been sailing in one direction because that is the direction that made sense when you set out, and you have been adjusting the sails, working the ropes, watching the sky. You have been doing everything a sailor is supposed to do. But somewhere in the last few months, the wind shifted and you did not feel it. The current changed and you did not see it. You have been pulling harder on ropes that no longer connect to anything, and the harder you pull, the more tired you become. The more tired you become, the more convinced you are that the answer is to pull harder still. That is the mistake. Not the wrong direction, the wrong response to the change, pulling harder when the assignment was to stop pulling and listen. There is a man in the old stories named Jonah. Most people remember him for the fish. They forget the part that came first. Before the fish, he ran. He did not run because he hated his calling. He ran because he was afraid of what saying yes would cost him, and he thought that if he kept moving fast enough in the opposite direction, the calling would lose his trail. So he ran, and the Father, who loved him too deeply to let him drown alone in his own resistance, sent a storm. The storm was not punishment. The storm was rescue. The storm was the only language Jonah was still able to hear. I am telling you this because you may not be running. You may be doing what is harder to recognize. You may be standing very still and pulling on a marriage that needs presence more than it needs effort, pulling on a calling that needs surrender more than it needs strategy, pulling on a financial situation that needs wisdom more than it needs hustle. And the storm that has arrived in your life, the strange tiredness, the relationships shifting, the doors that used to open jamming shut, that storm is not punishment either. That storm is mercy. A woman wrote to me a few weeks ago. I will not say her name. She does not need that. She told me she had spent 18 months pushing toward a contract, a 5-year contract, the kind of agreement that locks you into a direction financially, geographically, spiritually. She said she had wanted it for so long that she could no longer tell whether she still wanted it or whether she had just become loyal to wanting it. She said the morning she was supposed to sign, she opened her laptop and her hand would not move. 3 times she tried to click the link. 3 times something stopped her. She said she felt foolish. She said she felt like she was sabotaging herself. And then 4 hours later, the person who was offering the contract called her and rescinded it for reasons that had nothing to do with her. She said she sat at her kitchen table and wept, not because she lost it, because the Father had stood between her and a 5-year mistake she did not know was a mistake until it was being pulled out of her hands. The first layer of the mistake is the mistake of trying harder. Trying harder on a closed channel does not open it. Trying harder on a path that was not yours does not make it yours. Trying harder when the assignment is to be still produces something that looks like progress on the outside but feels like exhaustion on the inside, and you have been calling that exhaustion normal. If this just landed, if you've been pulling on ropes that no longer connect to anything, and you've been calling it perseverance, do something for yourself right now. Type the words, "I see it," in the comments. 3 small words, not for me, for you. Type them because the moment you type them is the moment the pattern stops being invisible. Type them because what your hands type your spirit signs. That is the first layer. But there is a second layer underneath the first. And the second layer is the part most people never see because most teaching never names it. The second mistake is the mistake of skipping the sequence. There is an order to your restoration. There is a sequence the Father designed into the way human beings come back to themselves, and almost no one will tell you about it because almost no one knows it exists. Why almost no one knows it exists is part of the deeper truth that is going to land tonight. We will arrive at that, but not yet. Most spiritual teaching you have ever encountered, every meditation course, every guided practice on stillness, every book on receiving abundance, every teacher who has ever told you to surrender, to allow, to be still, was without knowing it addressing one half of the sequence, the receiving half, the half that comes second. They were giving you the second wave of restoration without ever telling you there was a first wave. And the first wave is the wave that wakes the part of you that is supposed to be receiving in the first place. This is why none of it has fully worked. It is not because you did not try, you tried. It is not because you lacked faith. You did not lack faith. It is because you have been trying to receive on a frequency that has not been awake in you since you were a small child, and the receiving cannot land on something that is still asleep. If this alone landed, this would be the message. If this is the only thing you took from tonight, this would be enough to change the direction of the next decade of your life. But this is not the only thing. There is a part underneath this part. And the part underneath this part is where the actual repair lives. Before this descends any further, gently press the like button, not for me. Press it so that this message, the message that just named something that may have never been named for you in your entire life, can find someone else tonight who has been pulling on the wrong rope, someone else who has been calling exhaustion normal, someone whose father is waiting for the same word to reach them through the same door. A small press, a quiet act of agreement, and the message travels further into the night. Truth honors truth. So before another 20 minutes pass, let what is real be named. Some of you already know. Your spirit has been pulling toward the answer since the first words of this message. There is no reason to build mystery for the sake of selling something at the end. What we have just touched, the closed channel, the dimming, the wave that should have been awake, has answers, real ones, measurable ones. The brain has 2 restoration stages, not 1. The first stage wakes the part of you that has been asleep since childhood. The second stage opens the channel through which everything you have been reaching for is supposed to arrive. 2 stages, 1 sequence. The first stage is addressed by an audio called The Genius Song, 7 minutes, developed by Dr. Robert Lake after 34 years of research at MIT, Princeton, and other leading institutions. The second stage is addressed by an audio called The Wealth Signal, 5 minutes, developed by Dr. Stephen Newton, a former Stanford neuroscientist who broke from mainstream research to release what he had mapped. One restores the child within, the other opens what the child is meant to receive. Restoration first, reception second. That is the order. Skip the order and the second one cannot fully land. If your spirit is already pulling toward this, you do not have to wait for the end. The doors are placed in the description and the pinned comment below. Walk through whichever calls you or stay with me for the rest of what is coming. There is no hurry. And in the same breath that named those 2 paths, another truth begins to rise. The names alone are not the gift. The gift is in what the second mistake actually does to a person over years, and in why the Father has waited until tonight to interrupt it. Take a breath with me before we go any further. You have been listening for almost 15 minutes now. That is not a small thing. In a world that has trained your attention to break every 20 seconds, you have given 15 minutes of unbroken focus to something you cannot see from someone you have never met about a part of your life that almost no one in your circle has ever named. That is not casual. That is your spirit recognizing something. I'm not going to ask you to do anything in this next moment. No instruction, no exercise. Just notice that you are still here. Notice that something inside you has not let you scroll away. Whatever that something is, it is the same something that was alive in you when you were small before the world taught you to override it. It is still in there. It has been in there the whole time. And it is the reason what comes next will land deeper than what came before. Now, the third layer of the mistake, and this is the layer that may be the hardest one to hear because almost everyone you know has been making it with you. The third mistake is the mistake of believing the exhaustion is you. Believing that the reason you are tired is because you are weak. Believing that the reason your prayers feel like they are bouncing off a ceiling is because your faith is not big enough. Believing that the reason you cannot stay focused, cannot stay clear, cannot stay open is because something is wrong with you specifically. You have walked around with that quiet shame for years. You have apologized for it inside your own head. You have tried to discipline it out of yourself with morning routines and habit trackers and one more book about willpower. It is not you. What you are calling personal failure is a pattern almost every adult on earth is living inside of, and almost no one has ever explained the mechanics of it. So let me explain. Researchers have a name for what happens to the human brain starting around the age of 7. They call it the decline effect. When you were a small child, your brain was running a frequency called gamma. Gamma is the frequency of curiosity, of effortless learning, of believing that magic is possible because it has not been disproven yet. Gamma is the frequency of the child who asks 40 questions in a row and is not embarrassed by any of them. Gamma is the frequency of wonder. And then around the age of 7, school happens, routine happens, sit still happens, stop daydreaming happens, don't ask so many questions happens slowly. Year by year, the gamma wave gets quieter. By the time you are 20, it is whispering. By the time you are 30, it is silent. The child within you, the one who used to wake up curious, who used to believe anything was possible, is not gone. She is not dead. She is just asleep. And she has been asleep for a very long time. That is one frequency. There is a second. While the gamma wave was being dimmed in childhood, another wave was being attacked from a different direction in adulthood. They call it the stress signal. The brain frequency called beta, which was supposed to come on for short bursts when you needed to focus or react, has been left running at full volume for years. Bills, deadlines, calendar reminders, the constant low hum of financial pressure. The stress signal hijacks the alpha state, which is the calm receiving state, the state in which your subconscious is open and your body trusts that it is safe. When alpha is hijacked, the channel through which receiving travels closes. You can pray, you can visualize, you can affirm, but the channel itself is shut. So now look at what you have been carrying. A child within you asleep since the age of 7. A receiving channel jammed closed by the noise of adult survival, and on top of those two you have been trying to live your life, carry your calling, hold a marriage together, raise kids, make money, stay spiritually awake with both of the frequencies you needed for any of that dim. That is not weakness, that is mechanical, that is what is actually happening. There are 3 things the Father needs you to understand right now. Not 5, not 10, 3. The first thing is this: the exhaustion is mechanical, it is not moral, you have not failed. The instruments you were given to live this life have been operating at a fraction of their range, and no one ever told you. Stop apologizing inside your head for being tired. The tiredness is not a character flaw. The second thing is this: the mistake is not in you. The mistake is in the sequence you were never given access to. You have been handed receiving practices without restoration practices. You have been handed alpha tools without gamma tools. You have been handed the second half of the recipe without the first half. Of course, nothing has fully worked. It was never going to work in that order. And the third thing is this: the repair is not effort. The repair is restoration. You are not going to fix this by trying harder, because trying harder is the disease, not the medicine. You are going to come back to yourself by allowing the frequencies that were dimmed to be reawakened in the order they were dimmed in. There is a Hebrew word for this. The word is shuv. Most English Bibles translate it as repent. And the moment you hear the word repent, your shoulders tighten because you have heard it shouted at you from pulpits. You have seen it on signs held up by angry people. Repent has been used as a weapon for so long that the original word has been buried under it. Shove does not mean grovel. Shove does not mean punish yourself. Shove means turn around, come home, return to what you originally were. The mistake the Father is interrupting tonight is not a mistake that needs forgiveness. It is a mistake that needs returning. You are not in trouble. You are off course. And shove is the word he keeps placing in front of you. Turn, come back, remember who you were before the world began telling you who to be. There is an old story about a prophet named Elijah. He had just done the most miraculous thing of his ministry, fire from the sky, a whole nation watching. By any measure, he should have been at the peak of his strength. And right after the miracle, he collapsed. He sat under a tree in the wilderness and he asked to die. He told the father he had nothing left. The father did not rebuke him. The father did not say, "Try harder." The father did not give him a longer prayer list or a stricter discipline. The father said, "Eat, sleep, rise, eat again, sleep again." And only then, after Elijah had been allowed to be a body again, did the father whisper, not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in a still small voice that Elijah could only hear because his frequency had been restored. That is the order. Restoration first, then receiving, then the voice. If something in you just turned, if the word shove just landed in a place inside you that has been waiting for permission to come home, type the words "I receive" in the comments, not as agreement with me, but as agreement with the word the Father just placed inside you. I receive. Type it and let your hand sign what your spirit just heard. And what I hear the Spirit saying to you in this exact moment before we descend into what comes next is this. I did not give you these frequencies to leave you with them silenced. I have arranged for the keys to be placed in your hands, not someday, tonight. The wave that was dimmed when you were a child is going to be reawakened. The channel that was jammed when you became an adult is going to be opened. And the order in which it happens is not random. It is the same order it was lost in, walked backwards. The child first, the receiving second. Before I show you the path of restoration, because I am going to show it to you, there is one more thing I have to reveal, and this one is the part that changes how everything we have just discussed actually lands in your life. Stay with me. The next part is where the diagnosis becomes the doorway. Before any path can be walked, the ground beneath it has to be clear. So let me consolidate everything you have just heard in plain words before the doors are placed in front of you. You have been tired for a long time. That tiredness is not weakness, and it is not a lack of faith. It is the result of two specific frequencies being dimmed in you in two different stages of your life. The first frequency, gamma, was dimmed in childhood, and it took the child within you, the curious one, the wide open one, the one who believed anything was possible, into a long sleep. The second frequency, alpha, was hijacked in adulthood by the constant noise of survival pressure, and it shut the channel through which receiving travels. What you have been calling your life, the striving, the pushing, the praying into a ceiling, is what happens when a human being tries to operate without those two frequencies online. It does not work, no matter how disciplined you are, and that is not your fault. No one ever sat you down and explained the order in which the repair has to happen. The order is simple. The child wakes first, then the channel opens. Restoration, then reception. Anything else is the second half of the recipe being applied without the first half, and it cannot fully land. This is not a teaching for everyone. It is a teaching for the one who recognizes themselves in it. And if you are still here, you are that one. Before I name the doors, I want to give you a small framework you can carry with you for the rest of your life, whether you ever walk through the doors or not. I call it the 3-door audit. 3 honest questions. You can ask them tonight, and you can ask them again next year, and they will keep working. The first question is this: where am I striving on a closed channel? Where in my life am I pulling harder on a rope that is not connected to anything anymore? Marriage, money, a career path, a friendship. Where have I been calling it perseverance when the truth is that the channel has been closed the whole time? The second question is this: what part of me has been silenced since childhood? What did I love before anyone told me what I was supposed to love? What kind of curiosity, what kind of play, what kind of wonder has been on hold since I was small? That part of you is the part the Father is asking you to come home to. And the third question is this: what sequence was never explained to me? Where in my spiritual life, in my emotional life, in my financial life, have I been handed step 2 and step 3 by people who never gave me step 1? Naming that is the beginning of returning to the right order. Carry those 3 questions out of this message, even if you carry nothing else. And now, before any door is named, you have to know who is being invited through it. Because the doors are not for everyone. They are for a specific kind of person. And the Father has been preparing you to be that person since before you knew you were being prepared. You were not born ordinary. You were not born tired. You were not born with this scarcity in your chest. You were not born with this dimming in your mind. There was a state you were in when you arrived in this world, and that state had a name, even if no one ever told you what to call it. The old teachers called it the state of being a child of light, a small one with both frequencies fully awake, gamma roaring with curiosity, alpha calm and receiving, magic close to the skin, the kingdom feeling near, and then the world began. The decline effect dimmed your gamma starting around the age of 7. The stress signal closed your alpha as adulthood crashed in. By the time you were old enough to ask what had happened, both frequencies had been quiet for so long that you did not know they were supposed to be loud. So you went looking for the kingdom from the outside. You took the courses, you read the books, you did the practices, you touched the edges of something a few times in a meditation, in a moment of unexpected peace, in a season of grace, but it never stayed. It never stayed because no one ever told you it was a sequence. They handed you reception, practices, and your gamma was still asleep. The child could not receive because the child was not yet awake. That is what tonight is repairing. Not your effort, not your faith, the order. There are tools. They are very specific. They are not generic spiritual products. They are calibrated by 2 different scientists working in 2 different decades, in 2 different research lineages, who arrived at the same conclusion from opposite directions. The first tool is called the Genius Song. The Genius Song is a 7-minute digital audio. You listen with stereo headphones, eyes closed. The audio uses a technology called brain entrainment. The way it works is simple to describe and harder to fake. 2 slightly different tones are delivered, one to each ear. The brain, in trying to reconcile the difference between them, falls into a specific frequency. In the case of the Genius Song, that frequency is gamma, the same gamma you carried as a child. The same gamma the decline effect dimmed. The Genius Song was developed by Dr. Robert Lake after 34 years of research into the gamma wave. His work draws on studies conducted at MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and several other leading research institutions. He did not invent gamma. He mapped a delivery system that allows a tired adult brain to find it again in 7 minutes. Without meditation training, without years of practice, the child within wakes. Curiosity returns, magic returns, wonder returns, not as an idea, as an actual wave. The brain begins running again. There is a woman in Texas, a teacher in her 40s, who described her own brain before she found the Genius Song as a machine running at 30 après of its capacity. She had spent a decade helping students unfold their gifts while quietly believing her own had been buried for good. After 3 weeks of 7 minutes a day, she said decisions she had been postponing for a year started landing in a single morning. The gamma was not a feeling, the gamma was a return. When you secure the Genius Song after the original takes hold, you will encounter another audio called the Youthful Brain. It is a stronger amplification calibrated to protect the child mind once it has been reawakened so the world does not dim it again. Many of the chosen ones who walk this path further are using it. Your spirit will know if it belongs to you. If it does not speak to you, leave it. The Genius Song by itself is complete. The Genius Song is the first wave restoration. The child wakes, but waking the child is only half. The child wakes inside an adult body that is still living in a world running on the stress signal. The receiving channel is still closed. The alpha state is still hijacked. So the child wakes, looks around, and finds that she still cannot reach for what is hers. She has the curiosity again. She has the wonder again, but the channel through which the kingdom flows in is jammed. This is the part most teachers never explain. The part where most people give up because they finally feel a flicker of the old aliveness, and then they hit a ceiling and they think the flicker was a fluke. It was not a fluke. The flicker was real. The next wave is what carries the flicker into a life. There is a second tool. It is called the wealth signal. The wealth signal is a 5-minute digital audio paired with a phrase the developers call the 9-word wealth script. The audio guides the brain out of the beta wave, the stress signal frequency, and into alpha. The 9-word script, drawn from a Hindu practice over 3,000 years old, bypasses what the researchers call neural rigidity, a hardening that happens in the thalamus when adults have lived in chronic stress for too long. The combination opens the receiving channel. The wealth signal was developed by Dr. Stephen Newton, formerly of Stanford, who eventually broke from the mainstream research establishment to release what he had mapped. His foundation draws on studies from Boston University, Stanford, and other research institutions. He did not invent alpha. He found a way to deliver an adult brain back to it in 5 minutes without years of contemplative training. There is a man in Phoenix, a sales manager in his late 40s, who described coming home each night for years feeling like a phone with 5T battery left. His income was strong, his presence was gone. His wife had stopped expecting him to be there in the evenings. After 11 days of using the wealth signal, he found himself negotiating boundaries with his employer that he had wanted to negotiate for 2 years. His sales did not drop. He took his first weekend in 4 years without checking work email. He said the change was not about money. The change was about presence. The stress signal had been quietly running his life. The wealth signal turned the volume down. When you secure the wealth signal after the original takes hold, you will encounter another audio called the Wealth Signal Accelerator. It amplifies the receiving channel deeper and faster. For those whose path is calling them further, many of the chosen ones already on this path are using it. The original alone is complete. The accelerator is for those whose spirit confirms going deeper. If it does not speak to you, leave it. And there is a small note about both. Some of the chosen ones who walk the furthest combine the wealth signal accelerator with the youthful brain. The two amplifications working together become the path that those who go furthest tend to walk. You will encounter both after you secure the originals, only if your spirit calls them forward. The originals alone are complete. The combination is reserved for those whose path requires going deeper than most. So you have 2 waves, you have a sequence, you have a path. The Father has placed 3 doors below this message. 3, not 1. The first door is restoration alone, the genius song by itself for the chosen one whose spirit is saying, wake the child first, begin there, walk in. The second door is reception alone, the wealth signal by itself for the chosen one whose child within is somehow already awake, perhaps because life never fully dimmed her, and what is needed now is the channel opening. And the third door is the complete restoration, both audios, both waves. The sequence walked end to end for the chosen one who recognizes that the dimming happened in 2 places and the repair has to happen in both. Most of those who arrive at this message walk through the third door, not because anyone pressured them, but because once you understand the sequence completes itself in the spirit before the hand even moves. Long ago, a teacher said, "You must turn and become like little children to enter the kingdom." Few realized he was describing a frequency. Few realized he was describing an order. The child first, the kingdom second. Each day that the child within remains asleep is another day she does not get to be awake in the life she was placed in. Each day the receiving channel remains closed is another day the kingdom that has already been reaching for you cannot land. The version of you with both waves restored is already alive somewhere ahead of this moment, looking back at this exact night. He is asking the version of you sitting here now to take the first step. The first wave begins with a single decision. One thing has to be named before any decision is made. There are sites that will mimic these names, pages that look similar, audios that claim to do what these audios do without the actual brain entrainment delivery and without the actual frequency calibration. They do not work because they are not the technology. The only place to find both originals with the full bonus stack and the 90-day money-back guarantee is through the link in the description and the pinned comment. Do not look on Amazon, do not look on Spotify, do not look on YouTube. Those are not the doors. The doors are below this message. So close your eyes for a moment. You are not deciding whether to buy something. You are deciding whether you are willing to remember. 3 doors are below. Restoration, reception, the complete journey. Your spirit knows which one is calling. Step into the one that calls you, or stay in this seat for a few more minutes. If your spirit is still settling, there is no hurry and there is no pressure. The decision is yours and the doors will not close in the next 90 seconds. They are below you. Take a breath. Let what is true rise. Whatever your spirit decides about the doors, the rest of this message is still yours. Stay with me. There are a few last things that have to land before this is sealed. If your spirit is moving toward one of the doors, here is what walking through it actually looks like in your daily life. It is small, it is short, it will not interrupt anything you already do. You will need a pair of stereo headphones, not earbuds with one battery dead. Both sides have to be working because the technology is delivered through both ears at once. Once a day in the morning, you will sit upright somewhere quiet, close your eyes and listen to the wealth signal for 5 minutes. Once a day in the evening, you will sit upright somewhere quiet, close your eyes and listen to the genius song for 7 minutes. 12 minutes a day total. 2 sessions separated by at least 4 hours so that the brain has time to integrate the first frequency before the second one arrives. You do not need a meditation cushion. You do not need a special room. You do not need to wake up before sunrise. You do not need to journal afterward. You just sit, you listen, and you let the audio do what it was built to do. The work is not in your effort. The work is in your consistency. The child within does not wake because you tried hard. She wakes because the same gentle frequency arrived day after day until she trusted it. That is the protocol. 12 minutes, stereo headphones, 2 sittings, spaced apart, repeated daily. Stay here for a moment. You have been listening for almost half an hour now. That is rare. Most people do not sit with anything for that long anymore. The fact that you have, the fact that something inside you would not let you go is not a small thing. It is a witness. The same part of you that has been quietly resisting the wrong direction for months is the same part of you that has kept you in this seat tonight. That part of you knows what it is doing. Trust it. I want you to do something inside your own mind for just a moment. You can stay exactly where you are, sitting, lying down in your car. It does not matter where your body is. What matters is what you let yourself see. In your mind, picture a ship, not a big dramatic vessel, just a wooden ship, the kind you might have drawn when you were small. You are standing on the deck of it. The water around you has been wild for a long time. You have been holding on, working ropes, leaning into wind. You have been doing what a sailor does. And then in this moment the storm stops. The wind goes silent, the water goes still. The ropes you were pulling on go slack in your hands. There is a quiet you have not felt in years, the kind of quiet that almost makes you uncomfortable because you have forgotten what it sounds like inside a life that is not always pulling against something. You let go of the ropes. Look beside you. The Father is standing there, not behind you the way you imagined him in your worst seasons, not above you the way some teachers told you to picture him, beside you on the deck, looking out at the same horizon you are looking at, and he lifts his hand and he points not forward where you have been pushing all this time. He points sideways to the shore, to a place you forgot existed because for so long you have only been looking at where the wind was driving you. The word he places in your spirit is not go. The word is shove, turn, come back, come home, return to who you were before the world began telling you who to be. Stand there for one more breath. Feel the stillness on the deck. Feel the quiet that is no longer punishing you. Feel his presence beside you, not against you. You can come back now. What you just walked through was not a metaphor. It was a remembering. The deck has always been there. The Father has always been beside you. The shore has always been waiting. The only thing that ever changed was that the storm got loud enough to drown out the invitation. We are at the part of the message that has been waiting since the beginning. The declaration. What I hear the Spirit saying over the one who has stayed all the way to this moment is this: I am the one who called you back. I am the one who placed the keys in your hands tonight. I am the one who never forgot the child in you, even when the world dimmed her voice. I never lost track of her. I knew where she went. I knew when she fell asleep. I have been counting the years until you would be ready to come home. And tonight is that night. You are not the mistake maker. You are not the broken one. You are the child of light returning home. You are the one who turned, and what was promised, what has been waiting since the beginning, is reaching back toward you in this exact moment, on this exact night, because you finally stopped pulling and started receiving. The kingdom does not arrive in those who push for it. The kingdom arrives in those who become like little children again. You are becoming. The wave is rising, the child is waking, the channel is opening, the order is restored, it is sealed. Breathe. The repair has arrived. You are home. If something inside you just sealed, if there was a moment in the last 90 seconds where your spirit said yes without your mouth having to move, let your like be your agreement, not as a gesture for me, but as an amen without words, a small act of saying, so be it. If this message found you at the right hour, there are more words being prepared for the season ahead of you. Words that will only matter if you stay close enough to hear them. Subscribe so that when the next one is ready, it can find you the same way this one did, not by accident, by appointment. The 3 doors are still below. Restoration, reception, the complete journey. The link is in the description and the link is in the pinned comment. Step into the one your spirit has named, and before you go, there is someone in your life who needs this, someone who has been pushing in the wrong direction for months and calling it dedication, someone who has been waking up tired and not knowing why, Someone whose child within has been asleep for so long they have forgotten what curiosity feels like. Someone who has been mistaking exhaustion for faithfulness and silence for absence and the storm for punishment when it was always mercy. You know who they are. Their face just came into your mind. Send this to them not as a recommendation, as a delivery, the same way it was delivered to you tonight by appointment. You are chosen one. You are the one who turned. And the kingdom that was promised, the one you have been reaching for from a closed channel for longer than you can remember, has always been waiting for the one who became like a child again. Welcome home.